Well, hey, hello, and how are you? It's a Sunday 1 o'clock version of our post-game wrap-ups.
best.
It's peak crisp fall weather. It almost was like summer weather, honestly, too. That's Matt Bovee. I'm Dom Tibbs. The Bills coming out with a 31-19 win. This is the first time I get to use this phrase, Matt, that I love so much.
Oh, you do.
Ugly wins
Yeah.
are better than pretty losses because this was an ugly win, but the Bills found a way to get it done. First, just kind of assumptions, what you take away from this.
You know what's incredible? I don't disagree with anything that you said, that it's an ugly win. But how far they have come that a multi-score win against a team that is fighting to try and save their season is still an ugly win. The thing I will say, a lot of self-inflicted wounds, a lot of mistakes that we are not used to them making. They did still get a win. They won by multiple possessions, right? It was not, I guess, as pretty or as smooth as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But they're foreign. I mean, you just look around the league, right? Like the Chargers are this team that a lot of people think are really, really high on. And then they go and they lose to the Giants. So weird stuff happens in the league. Get a win, move on. Really tough game, I think, coming up next week against the Patriots.
Yeah, which obviously now the Bills have to refocus a primetime game for in a division opponent here. But coming back in, it's kind of similar to what we talked about over a week ago with the Dolphins, Matt, is that a team whose back's against the wall, playing pretty desperate, trying to find that first spark, first part of the season. The Dolphins and Saints, so very different parts of their organization. Dolphins very much solidified, like trying to get, Mike McDaniel keep his job. Kellen Moore, a very young head coach, young quarterback, and Spencer Rattler. I just thought the penalties were maybe what we saw with this offense, how it takes it out of rhythm late in the first half. Get an interception from Cole Bishop. They can't get past the 20-yard line because there's multiple false starts. There's all these ticky-tack penalties that, like you said, the Bills just don't take. It's uncharacteristic of their play. So you hope those kind of things get cleaned up because there are going to be opponents like a Patriots team who just steamrolled the Carolina Panthers today who you feel like are going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I just think about some of the way that the drives ended, right? So the Bills in this game, like if you ever want to know how good Spencer Brown is, go back and watch the tape of this game
100%.
because the right tackle position for the Bills was just simply not good enough, especially early in the game. The second quarter in particular was kind of disastrous for the Bills. They got sacked multiple times. We never see Josh Allen take sacks. I think they had 3 drives in a row where they went touchdown to start, then interception, then punt, then punt. We don't really ever see the offense kind of hit that much of a lull.
Yeah.
It does speak to how good they are and how high the floor is that they still finished this game with 31 points. So to me, if this game would have slipped away and if they would have lost this game, I think it would have been easy to say, oh, the defense was not good enough. And while I agree the defense definitely left more to be desired, the offense just continued to kind of stall out when we're not used to seeing that. I mean, even think back to the play in the fourth quarter where it's 4th and 2 and they're at the 50 and they go for it. And I love the decision to go for it. But they try this little shuffle pass to Khalil Shakir that doesn't work. Ty Johnson, the play before, usually almost always kind of hits the edge and bounces out to the side and picks that up. He just runs into the line, doesn't get any gain. So it's just like some little mistakes from the Bills that we're not necessarily used to them making. But there is something to be said about like, okay, you made mistakes. You didn't play your best on either side of the ball, and you still won. Yeah, that's the most important thing.
And you still scored 30 points. Again, too.
Yeah, 31 points. And you held your opponent to 19. And even though it's Spencer Rattler, even though it's the Saints, like 19 is not a huge – they left points on the board with the interception from Cole Bishop, which we will talk about. And then another – what did they have? A 4th and – down that way. It was 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and Trey stops Alvin Kamara. That kind of changed the game. So, they left some meat on the bone, too. But overall, I think the defense was fine. It's kind of what they always are. And the offense was also just fine today.
We're 4 games in. I don't know what you gauge. Like, where the floor is with the Bills offense, right? It's pretty consistent. They're a team that you feel like they can score 30
which
points.
Is 30 points.
Which is very good. I don't know where the ceiling is because it's the week-by-week mindset of, like, this league. I don't know how to gauge, like, okay, let's just say the Bills score every possession. Like the
ceiling is the Ravens game. The ceiling is the Ravens game just from the offensive production. In the later portion of it, just because, like, how many times do you really go? And the ceiling shouldn't have to be much higher than the floor is now, right?
Yeah.
If you score 30 points in an NFL game, you should win more times than not against teams like the Saints and the Dolphins last week and the Jets the week before.
It gets the job done.
I do have a bit of an issue, though, with how conservative they have been. And it's not conservative decision-making. It's just conservative in the overall approach to the game.
Right.
Because going into the fourth quarter, Josh Allen and Spencer Rattler, I believe, had the same amount of pass attempts. the Saints could not pass the ball, and Josh Allen is the reigning MVP. I get that you don't want to make the mistake, and he threw the interception early on. It just felt a tad too conservative, and like they were going through the motions, just letting the Saints make a mistake. I feel like there are times to be more aggressive as a whole, as a unit, and today we didn't see that enough.
Like you have a guy like Josh Palmer. Like he's known for his ability to go vertical
Josh
down
Palmer,
the sideline.
Keon Coleman. I mean, today really was Josh Allen and Shakir,
Yep.
and then the shot play to Dalton Kincaid for the touchdown. After that,
Which Dalton has been a very, like, that's what you need
Yeah.
to see, very pleasant surprise. I have a thought on that, Matt.
Sure.
The Bills' defense, we know they're still struggling to get off the field on third down. There's a time of possession, kind of a concern with this defense, not their ability to just not get off the field in general, too. I wonder if the conservative play calling just comes from, hey, we got to give our defense a little bit of time to be on the bench because they're not getting off the field nearly as quick. Like Bobby Babbage, every week we hear it preach, like, get Josh Allen back on the field. My job is to get Josh back on the field. I need my guys off. I don't think they're doing that at a consistent enough rate that maybe the offense is like, well, we can maybe go stretch. I mean, I think the Dalton Kincaid or the James Cook touchdown drive was a 4-play, 60-yard drive. Like, they moved the ball downfield, and, like, that's when it's a well-oiled machine.
Just score. Just score. I feel like the getting your team
Right,
more
go score 40, but maybe they're taking an overly too concerned approach on, like, defense fatigue. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I also think, too, it was a little bit of poor execution. It was a little bit of missing Spencer Brown. James Cook was very good again today, which is awesome to see for the Bills offense. But they are missing a field stretcher. They are missing somebody who can consistently create separation, because one of the sacks, like, Josh took a couple in this game. One of them was a coverage sack to me, just that there was really nobody open. Spencer Brown couldn't keep his guy, couldn't keep Josh Allen protected for long enough. Or what did I say, Spencer Brown? Ryan Van.
Yeah.
You know.
I got you.
So, exactly. So, like, there are things that they can clean up. But I do feel like the Saints did some things well that kept the Bills on their toe. I do think, like, the Saints have a decent pass rush, right? They're going to play against better pass rushes. But when you're down a starting offensive lineman, that was an area where the Saints exploited some stuff.
Yeah, and I also think, like, offensively for the Saints, too, like, there's something to be said. I think there are some general concerns you can say about the defense, too, for the Bills' defense, rather. But there's also some pieces. I mean, Alvin Kamara is a very good running back. Chris Olave is a very good wide receiver. Juwan Johnson is a very big tight end. Like, there are certain pieces up there that could make the Saints team kind of dangerous in certain situations. The Bills almost ran into that today.
Yeah.
But defensively for the Bills, one thing I want to go back to, because we talked about it with Terrell Bernard making clutch play, death taxes, Terrell Bernard clutch plays. Today, Cole Bishop. Like, they did it again, Matt. Like,
that was awesome.
Backs against the wall, another clutch time play. This time it's Cole Bishop, first career interception. What a moment to have it, because of how all this offseason and really in the stretch of the season we went, man, we really need to see more out of Cole Bishop. I don't know what we're getting out of him.
Well, think about the alternatives. If they complete that pass, the Bills are trailing going into the half 17-14.
Right.
If that ball hits the ground, the Bills still have the lead, but it's 14-13. So he took points off of the board,
100%.
potentially 7 points. That was a huge play for the Bills, because even with the half that they had, you're like, okay, they're still ahead. It was eerily reminiscent of the Titans game last year, where the Bills were a huge favorite against a team that kind of just screwed around in the first half, didn't look good, and then eventually pulled away. That's kind of how I felt. The Cole Bishop play, I think, put everybody at ease a little bit of like, okay, now they're not trying to play catch-up. That was a good sign. I like the Cole Bishop play there. I still need to see more. Really, the defense as a whole, I think Taylor Rapp has been just fine. There needs to be an improvement there. I think the linebackers have been okay. I think getting Ed Oliver and Matt Milano back will help. But I don't think this is a quick fix on the defense. The thing to me is that they invested so many resources into the defensive line, and it still continues to be so inconsistent. Like, every once in a while, Bosa makes a nice play. Greg Rousseau, we haven't seen much this year. Deion Walker has been a very, very pleasant surprise given his draft status. Where has TJ Sanders been? Have not been a lot of TJ Sanders splash plays. The interesting things here, I'm rambling now, sorry. Max Hairston eligible to come off of IR starting this week, after week 4. I don't know how close he is, but we did see him starting to ramp up a little bit out on the practice field. 2 games away from Hoyt and Ogunjobi. Those guys are really needed on this defense. Michael Hoyt for sure, Larry Ogunjobi for sure. So there are reinforcements coming, but I still think this defense is just fundamentally flawed because they don't get home nearly enough, and it puts a bit more pressure on your secondary where you have some questions like Trey White,
Yes.
Taylor Rapp, Cole Bishop.
Yeah, and then you're rotating Dorian Strong in there today too.
Yeah.
With him his rotation with Trey, you don't know what you're going to get with Max. So while there are still concerns with the secondary, my biggest concern leaving this game and just using the recency bias of this competition was the pass rush. Again, like there's just, and you mentioned Greg Rousseau. I'm glad you did because. I mean, that's a guy who got paid this offseason. And the Bills really felt confident. I was kind of somebody who felt like, yeah, I think Greg has taken the right steps. He's there. He's been a ghost. It just really hasn't been there.
So Joe B told me the other day that he had a conversation with Greg, and Greg is playing through an injury right now, which would explain some of his ineffectiveness, I would say. But certainly that's a player that you need to step up. Hoyt will help, but I think Hoyt is like the next guy. I think Hoyt's like the fourth guy in the pass rush rotation. It's going to be Rousseau and Bosa, and it's going to be Epinesa and Hoyt. So that's where I think he kind of fits into things. Yeah, defensively, of the guys they gave extensions to, Benford looks every bit the part, and Shakir has been very good, and James Cook is worth way more than they even gave him. Terrell Bernard, splash play against the Dolphins, but feels like he's left a little bit more to be desired on some plays. Today was fine.
Yeah.
And then Rousseau is the guy who they definitely need more out. They need some semblance of a pass rush, and they just haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah, and again, it's just without knowing the extent of whatever injury he might be playing through. Like, it has to be, right? Like, if the Bills want to be this team that competes and plays meaningful games late in the season, that's going to be the element that ultimately gets them past when they have to go see these other people up.
Fantasy update that was really good in my pocket. So, yay. High five. Woohoo,
right,
go team. Sorry.
No, that's my point, though. Pass rush has to be better.
So, 4-0. They're getting ready for a really tough game against the Patriots. And I say really tough because the Patriots blew the doors off the Carolina Panthers earlier today. So the Bills are 4-0.
Landed in section 220. I see it right there.
Bills are 4-0. Patriots are 2-2. As we saw today in this game, betting lines are nonsense because it does not have a direct impact on the game itself. I would guess the Bills are like 6.5 point favorites against the Patriots.
I like 6.5 too. I'm not going to disagree. I think
that's the number that I think it will be. We will find out. The Bills will be doing their Monday press conferences tomorrow with Sean McDermott, Joe Brady, and Bobby Babbage. Damo will be there. Damo. And then Wednesday we'll be back to practice. That is Dom Tibbetts. I am Matt Beauvais. Have a lovely rest of your evening or day if you're watching this during the day. We'll talk to you guys soon.